talking to you, I mean, I was doing a lot of research yesterday, and you have a profile in New Mexican soccer that looks like Phil Jackson. And you have like the double three-peat, right? And then, I mean, the prowess of just the impact that you have on, professional soccer as well. I mean, I was doing research on the Chili's and the Geckos. And so, I mean, what
now you're really dating me, right?
What do you feel about, how soccer's progressed over your time and your tenure as a coach, as a leader, as a player?
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, like you just said, you go way back, because, I was on the first years of the Lobos soccer program.
Yeah.
And when we, back then we traveled pretty much everywhere, by vans. I mean, maybe one plane trip, that we couldn't drive to, but it's a shame we don't still have Lobos soccer. But right before the program was cut, I mean, they were flying everywhere. Their conference was on the East Coast. I mean, Jeremy wanted to change conferences, but just the progression, just seeing how many kids coming up, how many kids play now, and at the level of play. I mean, when I was playing, and you probably remember this too, but when you had maybe one or two club teams with all the best players on it, and that's probably no different now. But you have just so many good players on those club teams, and it wouldn't be just 3 or 4 good players on a club team.
Yeah.
There's 11 or 12 of them now. Yeah. I mean, high school soccer has come a long ways just since I've started. There aren't as many easy games that you used to have. You used to have a lot of games on your schedule. Now there's still some blowouts, but there's a lot more parity.
Yeah.
And because I think there's a lot more kids playing soccer. Just watching the progression, because my last year playing with the Geckos was '98, and we were in the USL, which the New Mexico United ran, and then we had the MLS. So our feeder team, we were a feeder team for the Kansas City MLS team.
That's right.
And just, we had a couple of guys that were going back and forth from Kansas City, but the MLS is the standard of the MLS now. There's so many good players in the MLS, and back then there was, MLS was more like a good college team. So the levels come up at all different levels. Youth soccer, high school soccer. I don't see a whole lot of college soccer anymore now that we don't have the Lobos, to kind of root for. But yeah, I mean, it's become a popular sport. I mean, I think some of the numbers have gone down in some of the high schools. I talked to Easy, Easy over at La Cueva. They used to have 120 kids try out. 60 kids now. But a lot of those 60 kids are all decent players. Whereas there was in the years, because I don't know if you knew this about me, I used to coach at La Cueva before I was here. I was an assistant over there with Larry Waters. So yeah, there was a lot more good players, and whereas there didn't seem to be as many years ago. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I mean, you obviously have had a huge impact in 3A. I know that Prep went up to the 4A for a little bit and went back down, and there's obviously been a huge success tradition here. Just out of curiosity, why are you happy to stay here? Why not be applying somewhere?
That's a good question, because the thought does cross my mind many times, and because I have good friends that are coaching at bigger schools, and before I got the job here, I applied to the Rio Rancho High School, and when they were opening the high school, and I thought I was going to be the soccer coach over there, but it didn't turn out, and I ended up coming here the year after. I teach here. I love teaching here. I enjoy my classes here. I enjoy just the kind of the Sandia Prep community. Yeah, I mean, you're always thinking like, could I do something, somewhere else? Could I win a state title coaching at El Dorado High School?
Sure.
And I've had and that's where I'm an alum of El Dorado, and the job has opened up over the years, and I've been mentioned, and I've actually been offered the job, but I wanted to stay here, and not because state championships. It's just I like I said, I like teaching here, and our program is probably I've seen how other programs are run. I've seen how we did things at La Cueva. Our programs are a little bit different here. I only have 2 teams, and I don't know if you saw our JV teams when they were practicing. Our JV team, it's basically almost like a C team, with a lot of middle school kids on it. We rely on middle school kids, to be a part of our program. And I think you're seeing more and more of that now across the APS, but never, it didn't used to be like that. So in a nutshell, I like coaching here just because I kind of like. I mean, I enjoy the full job that I have here. Teaching here. I'm sure I could probably get a teaching job somewhere at another school if a job opened up. But it would be weird not coaching here if I was going to go coach somewhere else, and because I'd always be wondering, how's Sandia Prep doing, and how the guys that I left, because you're always going to. I mean, when I do step down, you're going to leave a group of players. You can't say, well, I'm going to get through this group of players, because then there's the next group of players. So I want to get through this group of players, but I am getting to the point where I see the light, I see the end, but I still enjoy coaching. It's, I like the competitiveness. I like starting with a product, and seeing how far we can take it. And it's been fun having Caleb. Caleb's pretty laid back, and he gives me good advice, and I've kind of given him more to do over the years. It's, this is your, you. So, but yeah, I just overall just kind of like just being a part of Sandia Prep. So.
Yeah, you mentioned your enjoyment seeing a product go from the beginning to the end, and I know that a lot of your players, when I was talking to them today, that they had mentioned their main challenge or the unique challenge for this season is taking a younger group of guys. This is actually not your youngest group. Back in 2019, you had 9 freshmen, and that included Finn Saunders.
Right.
And so, I mean, that was probably a challenge, and that was the last year that you hadn't won state. So, I mean, what do you? I mean, obviously, you're dealing with a lot of young players. Like, what does that mean for you as a coach? Like, what are you looking to instill in like those underclassmen that is probably different from like you said, 120 people trying out at La Cueva who have their pick of upperclassmen, right?
Yeah. So early on, I think we're gonna use younger players because we kind of have to.
Yeah.
So I see these kids because I have them in 6th grade PE, 7th grade PE, 8th grade PE. So I see these guys coming in, and you kind of in my PE class, I identify these guys, these and the serious soccer players, the ones that they're going to be part of your program. I start kind of making connections with early on, and I give them the opportunity. I mean, if they're, we'll let that go by here for a second.